How does international humanitarian law apply to peacekeeping operations? Imagine a world where conflicts rage and innocent lives hang in the balance. In such scenarios, peacekeeping operations play a vital role in restoring order and protecting civilians. But how does international humanitarian law, often referred to as IHL, come into play in these operations? Let's break it down. International humanitarian law, which includes the Geneva Conventions and the laws of armed conflict, is essential during peacekeeping missions. When peacekeeping forces, such as those from the United Nations, find themselves in armed conflict, they must follow IHL rules. This is especially true when they engage in hostilities. Peacekeeping operations are designed to maintain or restore peace and security in conflict zones. Although not explicitly mentioned in the United Nations Charter, these missions have become crucial in managing conflicts. When peacekeepers use force or become involved in a conflict, they are required to comply with IHL. This law governs how hostilities are conducted and protects individuals who are not participating in the fighting, including civilians. The Geneva Conventions and their additional protocols provide protections for civilians, wounded combatants, and prisoners of war. Peacekeepers must respect these protections and ensure humane treatment. For instance, they should avoid attacking civilian populations and infrastructure. They also need to care for the wounded and detained individuals. A key document that clarifies how IHL applies to United Nations peacekeeping forces is the 1999 United Nations Secretary-General Bulletin. This bulletin states that United Nations forces must follow IHL rules during armed conflicts where they act as combatants. It also highlights that peacekeepers must adhere to the humanitarian law instruments ratified by their countries. Accountability is another important aspect. The United Nations bears responsibility for violations committed by its peacekeeping personnel. Individual peacekeepers can be held criminally accountable for crimes or breaches of IHL, usually under the laws of their home countries. Additionally, the states that contribute troops are responsible for their forces, actions and can face consequences for serious violations of humanitarian law. In practice, peacekeeping operations must balance their mission to maintain peace with strict adherence to IHL. This includes protecting civilians from violence, ensuring humanitarian access, and supporting peace restoration through legal accountability for violations. The obligation to respect and ensure compliance with IHL is reinforced by Common Article 1 of the Geneva Conventions, which requires all parties involved in a conflict, including peacekeeping actors, to uphold these laws. To summarize, international humanitarian law applies to peacekeeping operations when these forces are engaged in armed conflict. Peacekeepers must follow the protections and rules set by the Geneva Conventions to safeguard civilians and others affected by war. Both the United Nations and contributing states share the responsibility for ensuring compliance and accountability, which is vital for protecting human dignity during conflicts.